Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I've been wanting to do this for quite some time. I didn't have the one bottle, so I wasn't able to do it. But now that I have all three, I wanted to go through and give you the lineup of Dolce and Gabbana's The One, Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, and Eau de Parfum Intense. Tell you all about them, which ones that you should pick up, and pretty much all of my thoughts on them. So without further ado, let's get it.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah.
Alright, so welcome back to my channel again. My name is Randy, aka Fragrance Dude, back with another video. Before I get into the video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, and hit the bell for future notifications if you do like my content. But I wanted to go through, again, I wanted to do this lineup for quite some time, but because I left my Eau de Parfum in my office, I wasn't able to actually get the entire lineup to show you, and I wanted the full presentations so I could go over them. But with that said, I wanted to go over this because it is one of my favorite lineups. I don't have the limited edition ones like the One Gray, the Royal Night, Mysterious Night, all of that. I am planning to get them at some point, and then I'll do a full breakdown of all of them. But in this case, I just wanted to go over Dolce and Gabbana's The One Eau de Toilette, Eau de Parfum, and the Eau de Parfum Intense. So I will start with the original. This is Dolce and Gabbana's the One Eau de Toilette. It is an ambery, warm, spicy tobacco fragrance, and it is absolutely beautiful. The one drawback that a lot of people say about these fragrances is the longevity, the projection, pretty much the entire performance as a whole. But to me, for what it's used for, I actually don't mind it that much. And I have always said before, I don't really care about performance as long as you get at least 3 to 4 hours out of something and it projects decently. I don't really mind it. So I'll give you the note breakdown for the Eau de Toilette. Just an FYI, the Eau de Parfum is the exact same note breakdown. So the top notes here are grapefruit, coriander, and basil. The mid notes are ginger, cardamom, and orange blossom. And the base notes are amber, tobacco, and cedar. So here in the opening for the Eau de Toilette, what you get is this sweet, warm, sensual, and inviting grapefruit that has a bit of ginger and a bit of cardamom mixed in. That cardamom and ginger give it a bit of a sweet freshness and a little bit of a spicy kick, mixed again with that grapefruit, which isn't more of the citrusy grapefruit, it's more of the sweet, inviting, warm grapefruit with a little bit of an ambery touch. When you get to the dry down, it doesn't change terribly, but when you do get down there, you get those amber and those beautiful tobacco notes coming in that really set this fragrance apart and make it one of the best fragrances, at least the original, one of the best original releases out there. Dolce & Gabbana's The One, Eau de Toilette. A lot of people say it's redundant, but because compared to the Eau de Parfum, it is just a bit lighter and a little bit more youthful. Again, I love to wear it in the morning, but I do prefer the Eau de Parfum to wear more often. So the next one on my list is the Eau de Parfum from Dolce & Gabbana. Dolce & Gabbana's The One Eau de Parfum. I'm not going to give you a full note breakdown because I don't see a need of it, because I just gave you the note breakdown for the Eau de Toilette and they are the exact same. As far as what it smells like, you still get that grapefruit, you get that sweet, warm, sensual, inviting fragrance. Then when you get to the dry down, you get that ambery notes, those tobacco notes really coming in and making it a really nice date night fragrance. It's probably about 97-98% similar to the Eau de Toilette. The Eau de Toilette, I think, is maybe a little bit lighter. I think I already said that, but then the only thing that maybe this is a little bit more modern, a little bit more masculine, a little bit more grown up. But for the most part, there's not much of a difference here outside of the projection and the longevity. The longevity, it's not a huge difference, but the Eau de Toilette, again, gets about 4 to 5 hours. This gets about 5 to 7 hours. I usually see it waning around the 6-hour mark. It all depends on the temperature. It does do better in cold weather. And then as far as the projection, surprisingly, the Eau de Parfum has a little bit less of a projection than the Eau de Toilette. It projects for about an hour and a half instead of an hour, but instead of about arm's length or a little bit over, this is arm's length or a little bit under. Again, we're talking minute details that are not drastically changing from the Eau de Toilette to the Eau de Parfum, but there is a little slight difference in the opening, but only for the first few minutes. For those who can tell, I can't tell it very much, but you get that ginger, you get that cardamom. If anything, you get a little bit more ginger in this one. But again, it's not that much of a difference. Everybody needs to get their nose on the Eau de Parfum. I think as far as the projection, the longevity, and everything all together, the way that it smells, this is probably the best option. Compared to the two, since they are very similar to each other. Women absolutely love this. I haven't found anybody that didn't at least say, what are you wearing or whatnot, if I'm in close proximity to them and like a family member or something. This has always been a heavy hitter. I like to wear it more in the fall and spring, but I'll also wear it in the summer and the winter. It's one of my main pulls, especially for date night. So that's Dolce and Gabbana's The One Eau de Parfum. All right, so the last fragrance that I want to talk about here is where this line actually takes quite a turn, and that is Dolce and Gabbana's The One Eau de Parfum Intense. And so when this first was being released, people were talking about it, saying that this was going to be where they fixed the One's performance issues. That this was going to be the One, but with performance heavy, going at 10 hours, going to be projection, beast, all of that. But I gotta tell you, this does not do that. This is very different from the other two, although it still maintains that sweetness, that ambery, that cardamom in there. It still maintains that. It doesn't change the performance that much, if at all. I get about 6 to 7 hours, just like the Eau de Parfum, and I get about the same projection, if maybe a half hour. I would say about an hour and a half to 2 hours of projection at about arm's length, so nothing crazy as far as the change in it. Although for the first hour it does project pretty heavily. Medium high projection, but I will give you the full notes for the Eau de Parfum Intense since it does change heavily. The top notes here are cardamom, neroli, and cypress. The mid notes are cashmeran, benzoin, neroli, and clary sage. The base notes are leather, neroli, patchouli, and labdanum. So like I said, this is a sweet, it gives you that ambery feel, even though amber is not a listed note. It's because that benzoin, and I said this in a different video, the benzoin and labdanum, if you mix them together, it is a very similar sweetness to what amber provides, so it's a very ambery feeling fragrance. It is advertised here as a woody, aromatic, warm, spicy, sweet fragrance, and that is really what you get. So in the Eau de Parfum and the Eau de Toilette, the cardamom, that sweet, fresh cardamom with a bit of spiciness, does mix in the opening, but it's not the main note. In this one, in the opening, cardamom is the main note. Again, it is sweet, it's fresh, it is great, and then it's a very inviting fragrance. It's a little bit, some people say this is a bit more mature than the other two, although I feel the Eau de Parfum is the most mature in the line. I can see the argument for this being mature as well. This is honestly the most office safe of the three, and it still is a nighttime fragrance, although it is the closest to being a little bit more fresh so that you can wear it more often, even in the daytime sometimes. So again, in the opening, you get that cardamom. It mixes with three other notes. Cypress, which is in the opening, it gives it this woody aromatic feel, and it is a pretty prominent note in the opening. And then you also get a fizziness from the cashmeran. And then, I want to smell this again. And then you also, yeah, it's so nice. And then you get some neroli. I know a lot of people say that it takes their nose time to get around to this. I loved this the moment I smelled it at Macy's. I sprayed it on myself, and I loved it ever since. It's a really nice take on the one line, while offering something different. It does, again, take that tobacco from the other two and takes it out of this, and it adds in some woods and aromatics. So again, you get that cardamom, that cypress, and the cashmeran in the opening with a little touch of neroli. Neroli is a player throughout almost the entire fragrance as far as the notes are concerned, but it's more of a background note. Once you get to the mid into the dry down, that is where it becomes less sweet You get a nice touch of leather in there. Although I don't really like leather as a note that much, I like it as a side note, and it does it very nice, especially in the dry down here. You can tell it's there while not being a leathery fragrance. It's just an ambery, aromatic fragrance. It's warm, it's spicy, it's inviting. It's a very nice take on the one line. I just wish that it would have been a little bit more intense. But if I had to describe this just in one sentence, it would be a sweet, semi-spicy, warm, inviting, woody, aromatic fragrance. And it's so nice. And I'm just glad that this exists. It's one of the ones that I have as a main staple in my fragrance collection. But if I had to go through and tell you the three here, which one is my favorite, it's probably going to be pretty obvious that my favorite is the one Eau de Parfum. It takes the best from the Eau de Toilette. It adds just a bit more longevity to it and a bit more length of that projection, although it doesn't project as heavily. It also is a bit more mature than the Eau de Toilette, if any. But the Eau de Toilette is still nice for the daytime. So I would say number one is the Eau de Parfum. Number two is just going to be a tie between these two. Only because I do love this so much and it's so close to the Eau de Parfum. But because it's so similar to the Eau de Parfum, I only find myself wearing this again in the morning for a few hours. I do like this as my number two because it offers you something different. It gives you a more aromatic, woody take on the original one and a bit more freshness. Just take out that tobacco, but the tobacco is a really great note in the other two, which is why this is number two. If there was tobacco in here, I probably would be my number one. So that is the one line. Again, my favorite, second favorite. And there is a big similarity. If you have the Eau de Toilette, I don't think that you need the Eau de Parfum. And same thing back around. I don't think that you need one or the other. It's only the one or this one, the one. And I just don't feel, especially if you're thinking about only having a few bottles in your collection, you don't need both of those. They do smell very similar, and I would say save yourself some money and go with the Eau de Toilette if you don't mind spraying it on a few more times or just spray it on heavier. If not, just go with the Eau de Parfum. It's just you're going to be paying about $20 or $30 more for the Eau de Parfum. So that is the line, the one line, Dolce and Gabbana. It's one of my favorites, and again, once I get those limited editions, I will let you know, and I will do a whole breakdown of all of it. Comment below, let me know what you think of the one line. I'm really interested in your thoughts, and then I'll be back with another video